Imagine walking into, like, the most important pitch of your life.
Okay, setting the scene. I like it.
Right. So your data is flawless,
Yeah.
your presentation is memorized down to the syllable, and you are just ready to dominate.
You're completely in the zone.
Exactly. But your brain is secretly working against you. It's subtly draining your confidence and distracting your focus simply because of the fabric resting on your shoulders.
It sounds wild, but it is entirely
It
possible.
really is. So, welcome to the deep dive. We are thrilled you are here with us because today we are looking at a really fascinating guide and branding document we received.
Yeah, it's titled, Why Every Professional Should Have at Least One Tailored Suit.
Right, and it centers on the philosophy of a menswear brand called Apparelizer.
Hmm.
But, I mean, the implications of this document go so much further than just picking out a nice fabric or looking sharp for a wedding.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It really acts as a comprehensive blueprint for human perception. We are fundamentally looking at the psychology of dressing, the physical mechanics of clothing on the human body, and the long-term economics of curating a professional wardrobe.
It's a way deeper than just fashion.
Exactly. It challenges the idea that clothing is just a superficial layer we throw on before leaving the house.
So the mission for our deep dive today is to unpack this specific intersection of fashion, psychology, and career advancement. We want to figure out if upgrading your wardrobe actually translates to a quantifiable upgrade in your professional life.
Which is a huge question for anyone trying to climb the ladder, really.
Okay, let's unpack this. Think about that high-stakes meeting I just mentioned.
The pitch.
Right, a pitch, a crucial interview, maybe you are asking for a massive promotion, you have the skills, you have the data, but you show up in an ill-fitting, off-the-rack suit that you bought at the last minute because you felt like you, quote-unquote, had to wear one.
We've all been there, honestly.
Yeah, it's the worst. To me, that is like showing up to the starting line of a high-stakes race driving a $1 million high-performance sports car, but with slightly deflated tires.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
You have the engine to get across the finish line, but you are deliberately choosing not to operate at your full potential.
That analogy hits the mark perfectly because it isolates the concept of unnecessary friction.
Friction, yeah.
You are taking a high-performance engine, which is your intellect and preparation,
That-
and hamstringing it with external drag.
Right.
And the source material backs up this idea of operating at full potential by diving straight into the neurology of first impressions.
Which is pretty intense.
Very.
Mhm.
Because in our highly competitive professional world, the window to establish competence is astonishingly brief. We are talking near seconds.
Wow, seconds.
Literally seconds. Before you even open your mouth to deliver that brilliant opening line of your pitch, your appearance has already communicated a massive amount of data to the room.
The document really emphasizes that. It says clothing heavily influences how people perceive your credibility, your authority, and your competence.
It does all the talking before you do.
Yeah, but let's dig into the why behind that. It isn't just about the people sitting across the boardroom table judging you,
Right.
no.
Not at all.
It is also about what is happening inside your own head. There is an actual psychological term for this mentioned in the text.
Enclothed cognition.
Yes, enclosed cognition. The idea that what you wear literally influences your mindset and your performance.
It's fascinating stuff.
The text notes that putting on a tailored suit actually makes you stand taller, feel more prepared, and communicate with significantly more presence and energy.
And the psychological shift is measurable. It really is.
Measurable how?
Well, enclosed cognition is essentially a subset of a broader psychological field called embodied cognition.
Okay.
That's the idea that our minds and bodies are deeply interconnected, and physical sensations or actions directly shape our thoughts.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, so when you put on garments that carry heavy societal associations with professionalism, sharpness, and discipline, your brain essentially adopts those traits.
That's wild.
Right? It isn't just a fleeting feeling of looking nice. It is an observed cognitive change in how you process information and project authority.
So let me ask you this. Is putting on a tailored suit essentially the corporate equivalent of putting on a superhero cape?
Oh, I love that.
Like, does the outfit actually create the confidence out of thin air, or is it just unlocking a baseline competence that is already sitting dormant inside you?
What's fascinating here is that it is fundamentally a two-way street,
Mhm.
and the cape analogy actually holds up if we look at the mechanics of it.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's break down the why and the how behind enclosed cognition.
Yeah.
On one hand, you have the external signal.
Right.
Human brains are wired through associative networks. We have spent our entire lives being conditioned by society to associate crisp lines, structured shoulders, and a perfect silhouette with authority figures.
Sure, like politicians or CEOs.
Exactly. Leaders, experts, professionals, they have historically worn structured garments. So when you wear one, you are tapping into that associative network in the observer's brain.
You're hacking their perception.
Pretty much. You send a signal of power outward. And when people inevitably treat you with more respect and deference, because they subconsciously receive that signal, their reaction reinforces your own confidence.
Oh, so it becomes a feedback loop.
Exactly, a positive feedback loop.
So it's essentially a filtering mechanism.
Yeah.
The suit does the heavy lifting of establishing your baseline competence, so you don't have to spend the first 10 minutes of the meeting proving you belong in the room.
That's a great way to summarize the external side, yeah.
But what about the internal trigger, the mental preparation before you even see another person?
That internal mechanism is arguably even more powerful. Think about the physical act of getting dressed.
Okay.
When you go through the ritual of putting on a customized, tailored garment before a big meeting, you are actively signaling to your own nervous system that this specific event matters.
Like suiting up for battle.
Yeah, you are stepping into a defined role. The suit acts as a psychological trigger that tells your brain, hey, we are transitioning into professional mode.
Right.
You are mentally preparing yourself to communicate authority. So to answer your question, the cape doesn't create the superpower. You still have to know your stuff and have the data to back up your pitch.
Obviously, yeah, you
Yeah.
can't just be an empty suit.
Right. But it absolutely creates the optimal neurological conditions to display that competence without hesitation.
So if the brain is just responding to the conceptual idea of a professional garment to trigger this enclothed cognition, why can't I just grab a $90 suit off a department store rack?
Well, that's where we get into the physical realities.
Because the guide is so incredibly adamant about the tailoring aspect, the source text makes a very hard, deliberate distinction between standard, off-the-rack sizing, and custom tailoring.
And that distinction comes down to the stark physical reality of how clothing is manufactured versus how human bodies are actually shaped. Off-the-rack suits are manufactured for a statistical illusion. They are cut to fit a hypothetical body type that represents the absolute middle of a bell curve.
Averages. They are making thousands of suits for a statistical average, not for a unique, asymmetrical human body.
Precisely. And nobody is a perfect statistical average.
Sure.
One shoulder might sit a quarter inch lower than the other. Your arms might be slightly longer relative to your torso.
Yeah.
A tailored suit, on the other hand, is customized to your exact specific measurements.
Okay, so it actually fits you.
Right. And the text highlights that this difference results in several distinct physical benefits. First, it creates a significantly better appearance through cleaner lines, sharper shoulders, and a much more elegant overall silhouette.
Makes sense.
Second, and perhaps more importantly, there is enhanced comfort. Because it is cut to your proportions, it allows for much easier movement. You aren't constantly fighting the excess fabric or feeling restricted by a tight seam.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though. I hear you on the measurements, but let's be real. Off-the-rack brands spend millions of dollars designing these mass-market suits to fit most guys reasonably well.
They definitely try, sure.
So is an average client across the boardroom table actually going to notice that my shoulder seam is a half-inch off? Are they scrutinizing my lapels that closely while I'm trying to walk them through a quarterly earnings report?
This raises an important question, and the answer lies in the subtle ways our brains process visual harmony and body language.
Visual harmony. Okay.
Even if the person sitting across from you isn't a fashion expert, and even if they couldn't articulate exactly why your suit looks slightly off, their brain is still registering the visual data.
Right. They just sense something is wrong.
Exactly. When a suit fits perfectly, it creates clean, unbroken lines. When it doesn't, there is bunching, pulling, and wrinkling.
Yeah, that makes you look a bit messy.
The observer perceives you as slightly less put together or slightly more chaotic, even if they have no idea what a shoulder seam is supposed to look like. But let's move past the observer for a second.
Okay.
Let's connect those tiny physical details back to the enclosed cognition we just talked about.
You mean the connection between the physical comfort of the garment and the mental state of the person wearing it?
Exactly. If you are wearing an off-the-rack suit that doesn't quite fit your unique frame, what happens in a dynamic environment?
You move around, it gets uncomfortable.
Right. The armholes might be cut too low, which is very common in mass-produced suits.
Mm-hmm.
So when you reach across the table to hand out a document, the entire jacket lifts up uncomfortably.
Oh, I hate that.
Or the collar pulls away from your neck when you turn your head. or the trousers pinch slightly when you sit down for a long negotiation. These aren't just minor physical inconveniences. They are micro distractions.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense. You are subconsciously adjusting your clothes. You are shifting in your seat, or maybe restricting your natural hand gestures because the fabric is physically fighting your movements.
Yes. And every time you adjust your collar or hesitate to raise your arm, you are burning cognitive load.
Wow.
You are physically guarding yourself because you aren't completely comfortable in your environment. But when a suit is tailored to your exact measurements, that physical restriction evaporates.
You just forget you're wearing it.
You have total physical ease. And when your body experiences physical ease, your body language naturally opens up.
That is huge.
You take up the appropriate amount of space at the table. Your gestures become more fluid, more expansive, and more confident. You naturally stand taller because the garment was built around your posture,
So the physical comfort directly translates into mental ease.
which is then projected outwardly as supreme professional confidence.
You are basically buying back your mental bandwidth. You aren't just paying for the look of the fabric, you are paying to eliminate those micro distractions so you can allocate 100% of your cognitive energy to the pitch itself.
Exactly.
But eliminating those micro distractions undeniably comes with a literal price tag.
It certainly does.
So let's talk about the economics, because a custom tailored suit is undeniably a larger upfront investment. Having established the psychological and physical superiority of the tailored option, how does a modern professional actually justify the higher initial cost?
The source material tackles this economic concern head-on by framing the tailored suit as a timeless investment.
Right.
It explicitly contrasts this approach against the modern trap of fast fashion, where clothing is cheap, disposable, and constantly needs replacing. The text emphasizes two main economic factors that tip the scales in favor of tailoring, which are durability and versatility.
Let's focus on the durability first. The text notes that these bespoke or tailored garments utilize premium materials and superior stitching techniques. That means they outlast cheaper, mass-produced alternatives significantly. It makes me think of an economic analogy I love to use, the high-quality chef's knife.
Oh, okay. Let's explore that. How does the kitchen hardware translate to the wardrobe?
Well, if you buy a cheap, mass-produced kitchen knife, it feels like a great deal in the moment. But the steel is soft, you know?
Right.
It dulls quickly, you can't get a good edge on it, the handle might crack, and you find yourself throwing it away and replacing it every single year. The long-term cost, not to mention the frustration of using a bad tool, really adds up.
Yeah, you end up spending more over time.
Exactly. But if you invest in a professional high-carbon steel chef's knife, the upfront cost is steep. You might wince when you hand over your credit card.
Sure.
However, because it's built impeccably well, and because you use it for almost every single recipe you cook, the cost per use over a decade becomes incredibly low. It actually saves you money and performs better in the long run.
That is the exact economic logic the source applies to the tailored suit. It is a lesson in long-term value over short-term savings.
Yeah.
When you synthesize the durability of premium fabrics, the reinforced stitching, and the fact that the design is timeless rather than a passing trend, the math heavily favors the tailored option.
Right, because it doesn't go out of style.
You aren't replacing it every 2 years because the seams blew out or the glued interlining bubbled.
And the versatility aspect outlined in the text is incredibly pragmatic. It's not just a rigid uniform that you keep in a garment bag and only pull out for weddings or board meetings.
No, not at all.
The guide specifically points out that you can break the suit apart to maximize its utility across different social and professional settings.
The styling ideas they provide really highlight how to stretch that initial investment. A tailored suit is essentially a modular wardrobe system.
Like Lego for your closet.
Pretty much.
Mm.
You can take the tailored blazer and pair it with a crisp pair of chinos for a smart casual networking event or a creative agency meeting.
Ooh, that's a good look.
You can wear the tailored trousers separately with a high-quality knit sweater for a normal day at the office. You can completely alter the formality of the full suit just by swapping out different ties, shirts, and pocket squares.
It seamlessly transitions from a formal gala dinner to a standard corporate interview just by changing the accessories.